Money, fame, and success are supposed to protect you, but sometimes they don't. And that is what makes this story so unsettling. The same league that turns young men into millionaires has also seen some of them walk straight into prison cells, losing everything they built in a matter of years. In the NBA, players live fast, earn big, and carry pressure most people never understand. And when that pressure meets bad choices, the fall can be brutal. This video takes you deep into the lives of 7 NBA names whose journeys didn't end in retirement, but behind bars, where fame means nothing and mistakes cost everything. Stay with this till the end, because the final story is not just shocking, it completely changes how you look at success and consequences. Number 7. Glenn Davis. The first NBA player that has been sentenced on the list is Glenn "Big Baby" Davis. The fall of Glenn Davis began quietly, almost unnoticed, inside a system that was built to help players. Davis was once known for his strong presence on the court, a player who brought energy, size, and personality to every game he played, especially during his time with the Boston Celtics, where he became a fan favorite. He was not just another player, he was part of a championship culture, surrounded by stars and success. But years after the cheers faded, his name returned to headlines for a very different reason in 2024. Davis was convicted for his role in a scheme that defrauded the NBA players' health and benefit welfare plan, a system meant to support players after their careers. Instead of protection, it became an opportunity for manipulation. The details were serious. Fake medical claims were submitted, money was collected, and the system was abused. Davis was sentenced to 40 months in prison, along with 3 years of supervised release, and ordered to pay restitution. The image of a former champion sitting in court instead of standing on a basketball court is hard to ignore. Success can open doors, but it also gives access, and access without discipline can lead to decisions that slowly destroy everything. And if this started quietly, the next story shows how things get even deeper. Number 6. Will Bynum. Will Bynum was known for his quickness and scoring ability, especially during his time with the Detroit Pistons, where he built a solid career as a reliable guard. He was not a superstar, but he earned respect, minutes, and millions. But like Davis, his name became tied to the same fraud case that shook the NBA's support system. Bynum was convicted for conspiring to make false statements related to fake medical and dental claims. And what made his situation worse was that he also lied under oath, turning a bad decision into a deeper legal problem. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison, ordered to forfeit and repay over $180,000, and his career reputation took a permanent hit. The moment you lie to protect a mistake, you are no longer trying to fix the problem, you are digging deeper into it. And while Bynum followed the path, the next player helped build it. Number 5. Allen Anderson. Allen Anderson's role in the same scandal takes things to another level, because he was not just involved, he was actively pushing it forward. Anderson had a long journey through the NBA, playing for multiple teams and carving out a career through persistence and effort. He was not handed success, he worked for it, which makes what happened next even more difficult to understand. According to reports, Anderson was one of the key recruiters in the fraud scheme. When insurance companies started questioning claims, instead of stepping back, he encouraged others to keep going, even suggesting forged documents and fake medical visits to justify the money. That decision turned him from participant to driver of the problem. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and the consequences were clear. When you lead people in the wrong direction, the fall does not just affect you, it spreads. And just when you think the situation cannot get more complex, the next story takes a different turn entirely. It involves global power. Number 4. Brittney Griner. Brittney Griner was one of the biggest stars in women's basketball, known for her dominance, her presence, and her achievements. She represented excellence at the highest level. But in 2022, everything changed. She was arrested in Russia after cannabis oil was found in her luggage. She admitted it was a mistake, but the situation quickly became much bigger than a simple legal case. She was sentenced to 9 years in prison, a punishment that shocked the world. For months, she remained in custody, not just as an athlete, but as a figure caught in a political situation far beyond her control. She was eventually released after 10 months in a prisoner exchange, but the experience changed everything. Sometimes, One small mistake in the wrong place can lead to consequences you never imagined. And if that was global, the next story brings us back to organized fraud at a much larger scale. Number 3. Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams' story is one of leadership gone wrong, where influence turned into control and control turned into crime. Williams was once a promising player, drafted in the first round with a future that looked bright. He had the talent, the opportunity, and the platform to build a long career. But instead, he became the central figure in a massive fraud scheme involving the NBA's health insurance plan. This was not small. Over $2.5 million was involved, with multiple players connected to the case. Williams was seen as the leader, the one who brought others into the system and kept it running. On August 3, 2023, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, one of the harshest punishments among those involved. When you lead something negative, you carry the heaviest weight when it collapses. And yet, even this is not the most shocking story on this list. The next player's fall goes far beyond money and mistakes. Number 2. Javaris Crittenton. Javaris Crittenton was once a first-round NBA draft pick, a young player with talent, opportunity, and a clear path ahead. He played alongside stars and had the chance to build a strong career. But his story took a dark turn. In 2011, he was involved in a shooting in Atlanta that resulted in the death of a 22-year-old mother of 4. The incident was linked to gang-related retaliation, and it shocked everyone who followed the league. Crittenton later admitted his involvement and was sentenced to 23 years in prison, a sentence that was later reduced but still carried heavy consequences. Before this, he was already known for a locker room incident involving firearms with teammate Gilbert Arenas, a moment that should have been a warning. But the warning was ignored. The final outcome was irreversible. One decision, one moment, and everything was gone. Talent, money, future, all replaced by a prison sentence and a story that serves as a harsh reminder. If the case of Javaris Crittenton already felt like the lowest point, then the next story pushes things even further into something darker and more complex. At the very top sits Darius Miles. Number 1. Darius Miles. Darius Miles was not an NBA star yet, but he was on the path, playing college basketball at a high level for the University of Alabama, with a future that looked full of promise. Everything changed in January 2023, when a late-night situation near the Tuscaloosa Strip turned deadly. A 23-year-old woman named Jamia Harris lost her life in a shooting that shocked the entire community. According to investigators, Miles is accused of providing the handgun that was used in the shooting, even though another man, Michael Lynn Davis, was identified as the person who pulled the trigger. That single detail changed everything, because in the eyes of the law, involvement does not always require pulling the trigger. Sometimes being part of the moment is enough. Michael Lynn Davis was later convicted of capital murder in 2025 and sentenced to life in prison without parole, while Miles has continued to fight his own case, pleading not guilty and remaining in custody without bond. His trial has faced delays, including a pause while legal motions are reviewed, and his defense team has argued that he acted in self-defense and should be immune from prosecution. They have also raised concerns about bias in the courtroom, adding another layer of tension to an already serious case. The most striking part of this story is how fast everything changed. One moment, Miles was a college athlete building a future, and the next, he was removed from his team on the same day as his arrest, facing a charge that could lead to life in prison. It shows how quickly a single night, a single decision, or even being in the wrong place with the wrong people can erase years of hard work. These stories show something simple but powerful. Success does not protect you from consequences, and money does not erase bad decisions. From fraud and lies to violence and global incidents, each story proves that the fall can come from different directions, but it always comes fast when control is lost. If this opened your eyes, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay locked in, because the next story might be even more shocking. And just like that, it all ends.